Greetings! Got another Dark Visions video. Today going to be showing a fire team. And we're going to be using the classic Rain Reagan as our leader and breaker. Damage drivers here are Genesis and Ayabrea. And then to go with Ayabrea's Extreme Nova Chains, we have Arcane Scholar Kier. And we also have Fina on the Hyoh card, but that's kind of an afterthought. And Arcane Scholar Kier, being Extreme Nova Frames, is one of the only changes he got from the unit pool run. Who, for those of you who aren't aware, is who he was based on in the JP version, which was a collab from a Dragon Quest manga that has never been released in the US. So it makes sense why they didn't, bother paying for that IP, or however it actually works for him. I've never really been mad that he was scalped from a unit that I actually wanted the whole time, but I didn't like that he was Extreme Nova Chains until Ayabrea came out, and now I love it. It is just so helpful to have that. And finally, we have Return Fina, who's, your classic 400% stat buffer. She has both killers for the fight, 160 bird, 150 human. And she also, now with her crowns, brings a stat field, so she's a lot more versatile. So, we're going to dive right in here. Alright, and for this strategy, we're going to be pushing the threshold turn 1, which means we need to do 540 million damage, which isn't nearly as much as it sounds. And to do that, we're going to use Mountain Dive, anything, and then we're going to just throw up his fire, the Reagan's Fire Empire. Rain's going to Enfaraga, Eldor Leader, Prominence Fall. And Fina, because we're pushing that threshold, and you don't want to have to gear everyone for 100% fire resist for that, she's just going to be throwing up Enfaraga. Now the reason we want to do this turn 1, instead of, waiting for turn 4, turn 5, like a lot of other strategies do, is because we don't have any imperils on our team yet. You start the fight with a blank slate, and the threshold attacks don't do damage before they imperil. So as long as you have someone who can remove those imperils after the fact, like Ayabrea, it ends up being a lot. In my opinion, everyone's got their own. So we did the 540, easy. Everyone resists all the attacks, and now the boss has dispelled us and put up a 100% imperil to all elements. So, like I said, Ayabrea has a way to deal with that with Gene Heal, and we're also going to use Haste for a 5-stack of Mirage. That's going to take us all the way through the rest of the fight, as long as you end by turn 5. And then we're going to use Barrier for the status immunity. Fina she runs out of turns pretty quick here, so we're going to use both of her killers here on turn 2, with Avian Slayer and Delightful Glow. And then we're going to use Shelga, because we are going to take a magic attack, and there's no way to avoid it. It's not sealable or anything like that. And then Reagan, because Fina does not have general mitigation, is going to use Defensive Barrier, which is a general mitigation, gives you 50%. And then we're just going to reapply Mountain Dive, and he's out of turns for this fight now, so we're going to have to use his break now. Before we do that, we're going to shift Rain and stack up his LB. Want to do that before the break, because I don't like to do any extra damage. It messes with your damage done screen, and also there is a slight risk of accidentally killing the boss if you don't think about things like that. So it's not really necessary here, but it's a habit that I have for good reason. And then Kier has our Avatar's Chainmail from Cow, and he's going to put that up, give everyone 150% to all elements. So, turn 3, if you can see, the boss has put up a 50% lightning and fire imperil field on our team. We're going to clear that with Siren on Fina, turn that into a 100% all stats field. Kier is going to put up his Fire Imperil field as well, And then Ayabrea doesn't really have anything to do, so she's going to use Antibody, her Earth amp. It does not imbue Earth, and it gives her a 90% mitigation, so it's better than Guarded. Genesis still guards. Rain is going to Enfaraga, Eldor Leader, and then Armor Grant Me Power. And then Reagan's going to use the Reagan Vision card to give himself a Fire Amp. That card being Hero of Grandshelt. So everyone was lightning immune except for Fina. Fina's game is kind of all over the place. And I didn't really want to put too much thought into it because it's not a significant amount of damage from those elemental attacks as long as you're not deep in the red on your resists. Alright, this is our setup turn, so Reagan's going to do anything dark amp, and I'm not the man I was before. Rain's going to Enfaraga, Unyielding Conviction, and Elemental Burst Fire. Ayabrea goes to the shift form. Triple cast, Fire Imbue, Awaken Mitochondria. I think I may be a monster. Genesis will triple cast, Burst, Fill, and Loveless. Kier is going to Elemental Burst, anything he has a free action, and Forbidden Arcana. And then Fina will use her SLB. And one thing you might have noticed is that Fina's been taking an extra attack from those single target deaths. Like I said, she's geared for everything. Nobody else in this fight has a Brave Shift form that they don't use. So she's kind of stuck with being our provoker here, which is unfortunate. Anyways, first turn, Rain and Reagan are going to be chaining Absolute Mirror of Equity. Kier, Fina, and Aya are going to be using Extreme Nova. And then Genesis is going to Ancient Epic Purgatory. And then we're going to chain Fina, Kier, and Aya first. And that's why they're positioned in the party the way they are, so that Fina picks up that first hit. And then Reagan and Rain are going to be chaining their Absolute Mirror of Equity after, and then we're going to finally cap with Genesis. Average for this team is a little over 32.5 billion. So let's see what happens. Ooh, 31. That's unfortunate. But it is tradition for anything that I record to be under average. Yep, Genesis damage capped. Ayabrea did a lot of damage. Rain's below average. Kier's below average. Reagan's slightly below average. And, yep, that's the way the prophecy foretold. And now for gearing. As you can see, we have Reagan on Tetra. Fina needs either Phoenix, Carbuncle, or Ifrit for the Barfaraga. Phoenix also has base fire resist, so I think it's the best option. With her crowns, she can summon any Esper in the party, so you can put Siren on someone more useful, especially if you have those Siren Galvanite nodes for that extra 50% bird killer, which I do, so she's on Ayabrea. Kier's on Bahamut, Rain's on Ashura, Genesis is on Rama. Now my Genesis is very overgeared, his average damage is over 10 billion, so giving him a better Esper like Bahamut doesn't actually increase the party's damage. So Genesis, max roll Item World Sword, and then just build for MP and Magic. Max killers with Barbaricious Spirit, Bird Killer. He gets 75 Human Killer from his sword. And then the new Moonlit Night Parade of 1 vision card. Gives him his chain cap and a lot of MP. When we go to Reagan, he's on Tetra again, so, you know, he doesn't have any Bird Killer in his kit, so that's what you want to be focusing on with him. Besides that, the Reagan Vision card, Hero of Grandchild, gives him his Fire Amp. In the shift form, he needs his STMR. I have a Bahamut Synergy on there to fill up our Esper gauge for turn 3 for Fina. Then Winged Heart, great materia to have here. And then just build for Spirit. Fina, like I said, she's all over the place. 100% evasion. Whatever damage she can squeeze out. Perfect provocation, so she takes those attacks. Kurosama's Cape for the death immunity. She's on Hyoh's Vision card, so she can chain. And then just whatever else you can get in there. Kier is on a sword build, because that 40% sword apparel is better than his own 35% rod. And it's not ideal, but Rain doesn't have the action economy to use the Avatar's chainmail unless you can fill his LB externally, because he's the only one in the party with Enfaraga. So we have the ideally you'd have Avatars on Rain and then Kier gets the rulers, but you know, just not in the cards for this team. And then he's on Rick's Vision card. And he has the Bahamut Esper, so between that and Barbaricious Spirit, he caps all the killers. Rain in the base form, built for Spirit. Bahamut Synergy again. Rick's Vision card. And then just built for attack. He's on Ashura, which gives 75 Bird Killer. So, Code of the Samurai, capped all killers. And finally, Ayabrea, built for Spirit. Rick's Vision card. And then her Chronicle weapon, you know, TMR, STMR, Cow Hat, Cow Ring, Helm Mastery to equip the Cow Hat. And Siren doesn't actually give any killers besides her overkillers, but Aya has 200 base, so Thoughts of Selfie, Weapon Specialist. Caps those killers with a spot left for Kind-Hearted Flutist. And at EX3 she has max chain cap, so you don't have to worry about that either. And that's the team. Good luck. And I will say, this isn't the team that I'm using. And I don't know if I'm going to be posting that as early as I normally do, because I have, how should I put this? It's not a hard team to guess. So I don't have a lot of trick cards to play